Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I am your host, Dougie Almeida, and I'm coming to you live from Simpsonville, South Carolina. That's right. Look at me. I'm in Simpsonville. You hear my accent? You hear my accent? I'm becoming more and more of a Southern belle every day. And you hear that too. Guess what? Uh, I had caught COVID for the second time. I go down to Florida and I catch COVID again. But this chiseled body, this healthy specimen I am, a man with tits. I mostly was asymptomatic, thank God. And so now I got it. It's like getting another booster shot. So I don't have to worry about getting vaccinated again for another year. Thank God. Natural immunity, diplomatic immunity. Anyway, we got a great show today, by the way. Two fellow comedians are going to be joining us as we usually do here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. We're going to be talking about some topics. We've got some great topics today. We got some funny stories we're going to be going over in the news as a joke. Without further ado, let me introduce my guest today, fellow Florida comedian, very lovely young lady. Christy B is with us, and from the Northwest, very funny gentleman I got to work with. Josh Firestein is with us today. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Usually like to talk about things we recently did. Christy, ladies first. I think the last time we saw each other was one of your shows in the northern, I guess how we going Space Coast area of Florida.
I think I had you in Bunnell, actually.
I like the way you said that. You had me in Bunnell. Oof.
I
My
I
wife's gonna
had you
call
in
in.
Bunnell. Yes, this is
It
going to
was
get
so
interesting.
fabulous. I was so fabulous. I don't remember it. Jesus goodness. Well,
You did well. To be honest with you, I wasn't at that show that I booked you at. I showed up and said hello, and I had to go. I had another show, so I wasn't actually there while you were there. But I heard it
right.
was a great show. So thank
Yes,
you.
it was awesome.
That was probably 2 years ago. That was probably in 19, right?
2019 before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I brought my good friend Nadeem Awad with me to open for me. Very funny
Love
comic out of
him.
South Florida.
Yes.
Good dude. Josh, last time we saw each other was when I was touring through the was that Skippy Sprinkles show?
I don't remember. It was. He's had quite a few different ones. Maybe it was the Royal Bear, like an old biker bar.
Or that
I was
Lime
doing shows
place?
there. I think you might.
I know we
Oh, the
did some other shows.
Lime.
You remember the
Yes,
Lime?
the
And
Lime.
matter of fact, you were very nice. You actually added a tag to my joke, which I've been using ever since. I tell
Oh,
that
cool.
joke. I can't be racist. I'm in an interracial relationship. My girlfriend's married to a black guy, and then being from the Northwest, from the nice woke area part of the country, you're like, you may not be as mean if you come out and said that your wife is sleeping with a black guy. So I actually just put both
Nice.
of them in. I actually do that and make my wife look like a whore in the joke, which is usually it's a lot better. It works out pretty good. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
Um, and how are the things in the Northwest now? We were just talking
Good.
before the show a little bit. Josh, you had a show tonight that ended up getting canceled, which always sucks, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's
It's. I mean,
there's
the
nothing.
Northwest is kind of like Florida in a way, where like when in Florida, you go to Florida, you come home, you come back with COVID. In Washington, you go to Washington, you come home with an extra vaccine card. That's how it works. It's like the opposite. It's crazy that like shows are getting canceled here. With like everyone's like 95% vaccinated, and they're like, "Whoa, let's cancel the show." So a little different, but the same in a weird way.
Now, well, I don't have a right to ask you. You guys don't have to answer, but are you guys vaccinated?
Yeah, I am. But I'm not a hero. I'm just poor, and they were free. So
Yeah, why not?
they were like free shots. I was like, all right, what is it? Like Patron, Jack Daniels? And they were like, no, it's Moderna. I was like, all
Yeah,
right, fuck it, line them up. Let's go.
yeah.
I don't want to
That's
catch
how.
a bunch of crap about my answer for that, so I'm going to plead the fifth on me being vaccinated. But I live in Florida, so I went to Tennessee and got COVID, just so you know, at a family gathering back in March. And
Wow.
so I've been in Florida the whole time. I didn't go last Christmas. I didn't go home for Christmas. And then I waited spring break, went home. I didn't see any of my friends. I was just with family, came home with COVID. I was down and out for like 21 days. So
Oof,
it was not, yeah, it was rough. Of course, I milked it a
that's a
little
long
bit
one.
as
Wow. I mean, it's crazy. I've not been vaccinated because I had COVID back in 2020. So my doctor said, "Hey, don't worry about it. You know, you got a little natural immunity." And I've been on countless planes and I've traveled all over the country and this and that, and I still never got it. And then I went back to Florida for the holidays and somehow caught it. And you know what's interesting? I might as well talk about it now. Um, but you know, I had it. Other members of the family that I was at in Boca Raton, Florida, in Florida, got COVID. And because I'm the one who's not vaccinated, guess who they blamed? Me.
That's
Now,
not fair. Anyone can carry it.
well, that's my point. In other words, let's say you're in a group and you find out you caught COVID. Are you really concerned to find out who was the one who brought it to the
No,
party?
no.
I
the
We
mean,
only
really
reason I'd be
just make
concerned is
sure everybody's
so they
healthy.
help. So I'm concerned for them. You know,
right.
I just be worried
But
about
they're
their
all
safety and their
vaccinated
family.
and they got COVID. Is that
Everybody else in the house except my wife, who, by the way, was in the car with me for 12 hours driving to Florida from South Carolina and all that, didn't catch COVID. She's laying in bed with me and didn't catch COVID, but other people did. So, you know, it was just interesting because I'm like, you know, when the family does this, I'm like, you don't realize you're being divisive. You know, it's almost like insinuating there was a malicious intent to get somebody sick. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you
Yeah,
even know? Like, prove it. If you're going to say this shit to my family members and make them not like me, and you know, all of a sudden everybody's going to hold me, you know, like negative, prove it. Can you fucking prove it? You can't fucking prove it. So don't be saying this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. And like you said, who cares? It's going around the world. Everybody's catching it, and you're going to worry about who's the one who actually was the one. I mean, really? You know what I mean?
yeah. If you really
And
cared that much, and you know that Dougie's not vaccinated, you can kindly ask him not to show up. Hey, love you,
yes,
but we don't want you. I'd rather somebody say, hey,
really?
love you, don't want you around, than hey, fuck you for getting me sick. It's don't blame me.
Yeah, but
Just
everyone that got the vaccine also got COVID, right?
yeah,
yes,
yeah, you can. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I,
It
it is
it kind of listen. I don't want to make this a vaccine bashing thing, but
no,
listen,
me either.
it's like the doctor who told me when I tested positive last week. He's like, "Yeah, you got it. Well, guess what? You just been boosted." You know, he's like, "You don't need a booster shot now. You have." And that's kind of what
yeah,
you know the professionals are saying that's why they think this may end the pandemic. This Omicron is because as it spreads, everybody's going to get it, and they're going to have natural immunity. And may keep people from getting it, you know, for a while because obviously the
you're
vaccine's
like
not keeping
Pokemon.
people.
You're
Yeah,
like Pokemon with the variants. You got to catch them all. You know.
I'm going to get them all, baby. I'm going to get them
Yeah,
all.
dude,
I'm like,
start that collection. I love it.
and I feel bad because the other people are sicker. Like my good friend Mark, who does a podcast with me, somebody sneezed on his food, and he thinks that's what happened to last week. And he's like, I'm talking to him. He's like, "Ah, blah, blah." I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I'm very fortunate. I've been mostly, you know, lost my sense of smell in 220 when I had it, and this time I just had a little bit of a congestion. I wasn't, you would think my fat ass, who could barely do a push up, would not be that physically strong to fight it.
I
But I
thought you
guess
were a specimen. I thought.
I am a specimen, Josh, and
Hell
I am a
yeah.
specimen. When it comes to listen, I can't pass a physical ed test, but when it comes to COVID, I'm kicking its ass twice. I'm 2-0 against COVID.
Hell yeah,
Everybody,
dude.
I'm undefeated. But
The
yeah,
champ
I'm
in the
glad
house.
if you want COVID, come see me. Come see me, and
You're
I'll give you COVID.
just gonna carry it around.
That's right. I'll give you the good one. Um, well, speaking of hard times, we lost a great comedian, Betty White, this last week. Who I mean, with Betty White, when you hear she's dead, you're like, oh, stop it. It's a joke. You know what I mean? Because how many times you've heard she's died in the last 3 years and she
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
dead? and to die just a few weeks before your 100th birthday. It's
I
kind of
know that would have been a great celebration. She was one of a kind and one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I have to say, from the Golden Girls. You know, as a female, us girls, we get together and we decide which one of the Golden Girls we would be. We always name each other
really.
that. And I was mostly Rose with a little bit of Blanche on the weekends, but
Yeah.
she was.
Josh, which one of the Golden Girls would you say you mostly resemble?
I'm Sophia.
Yeah.
You're Sophia.
Yeah, definitely. Just leave me. I got smart remarks, and I just pitch in when I need to make fun of somebody. You know, I'll sit over here in the corner with an angry face.
I'm the big ugly one. Who's that? Maud? What was her name? The lady who was Maud.
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Yeah. Maud.
And then there's Maud, and then there's Maud. Yeah, I think she likes
The
women
responsible
like I
one.
do.
She was the responsible one.
Yes, exactly. And of course, football great, coaching great, broadcasting great. John Madden passed away. And, it's funny, young kids don't know John Madden as a football coach. Y'all think he's the guy who developed the football video game.
Yeah.
My nephew's like, isn't that the guy who invented that football game? I'm like, yeah. Just, that's what you want to tell all your friends. So I hope
I'm in
those
that
guys-
generation where I knew him as a broadcaster. I don't think I realized he was a coach until probably late teen years. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he was a Super Bowl winning coach for the Raiders. I just thought he was that goofy dude with the pen on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, exactly. And he did a bunch of like those Bud Light, those Miller Lite commercials. Less filling, tastes great. He did a bunch of those commercials and stuff like that. But definitely one of the greatest broadcasters of the game. You know what I mean? Great coach for the Raiders, one of my favorite teams growing up, and great broadcaster. And but he'll be missed. All right, I want to get to this topic. I think this is the main topic. Fellow comedian Patton Oswalt recently did a show with Dave Chappelle, and he took a photo of him on Instagram, and really, he had to answer to his woke crowd because, I mean, what I know about Patton Oswalt is, he's a funny guy. He gets a lot of TV, voiceover shit and stuff. But he also didn't his wife die of cancer. Then a year later, he married a younger chick. Right? He was so torn by his wife that he ended up finding a younger chick within a year. Now, Josh, you're married, right? You just had a child
Yeah.
recently too, right? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Christy,
Looking
you're
for a
not
young
married,
chick
right?
though.
Yeah.
I'm not married.
Well, you got Christy over there. She's so I'll ask you, Josh. God forbid, and anything ever happened in that situation. You'd hate to be saying that, but would you remarry?
I've said this many times, but regardless of any situation, death, divorce, anything, I'm never getting married again. I got married once. I'm not like Catholic about it, but it's one of those things I think I do once. And if it doesn't work out, then marriage wasn't for me. I tried. And if she dies, then no, I wouldn't. I mean, I would date again, sure. I would love again, sure, but never marriage again.
Yeah.
And that's not a weird Christian thing. It's just a weird. I wouldn't want to fail twice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
So,
have you
a
ever?
year though? I
Christy,
don't know how long.
Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead, finish your
I was
thought.
just saying, I don't know how long a good time is to wait, but I feel like a year actually getting married is really, really soon.
Yeah.
Especially after a death. It's like because I was in the military and went to Afghanistan a few times, and I have friends that have passed, or I grew up in a military town, so I have friends who married military men or women, and then they passed, and I've seen people get married pretty quick, or just start having kids with other people pretty quick, and it's like, ooh, it just made me feel, it was cringy, it made me feel weird. So I don't know. Because you have to meet somebody, then spend time, and then decide to marry them. That's within a year. Like, when did you cry? Did you mourn?
Yeah. Now,
maybe
Christy,
during the
you've been married.
marriage.
Christy, you're not married now, but you've been married. You've been married
I
before?
was married for 12 years. Yeah,
Mm.
long 12 years. I've been divorced for 10 years. So
Wow.
there's that. I always said I would never get married again, but depends on how much money he has, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I would. I don't know. I'm kidding.
That-
That's a joke, but not really. But also, I would say I would have maybe a commitment ceremony to where, I can get gifts and stuff like that. And we do all the things and no one knows that we're technically not married. We just don't sign the marriage certificate. So if something happens, we don't have to get a divorce. We can
Yeah.
just leave. And so I would do the
Part ways.
commitment ceremony. I don't know that I need to sign a piece of paper, but I can't even meet a guy that I want to like have dessert with, so like I'm halfway through our first drink and I'm like, I'm ready to go. So I don't see marriage anytime in my near future, or a commitment ceremony, or a second date. And I could go on and on, but
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's very depressing knowing that there's not a guy out there
It sounds
that's
terrible, but I'm not. Listen, honestly, I only went on like 3 dates last year. I'm not like desperately seeking a man to fulfill my life, but
yeah. Well, comedy's
yeah.
your new man, right? I mean, when my wife worries about she doesn't really worry about me. If you saw a photo of me, she's not worried about my fat ass cheating. But it'd be a big girl. It'd be a real big girl. But she knows that comedy is the ass I'm chasing. You know what I mean? Like I've had that conversation where like, honey, I only care about comedy. I don't, I'm in my 50s now. I don't give a shit about ass chasing ass. You know what I mean? Those days are over. And I would say this: if God forbid anything happened to my wife and I, we were no longer together, like you mentioned it as a joke, but I would never marry again. Number one, because before my wife and I got married, we were dating for 12 years. So that just shows you how quick it'll take me to probably get married again. And
Yeah.
I could tell you that. And I could tell you that the only way I would marry again is over a trust fund. Okay. So if the woman had a trust fund, you know what I mean? And she was loaded, and I might just get married and just live high on the hog. That might be the only thing that would cause
You
me to
could
get married.
definitely take a break from everything with that, huh?
Absolutely. I'll just manage her money. I have one client, and that's it. And then I don't care. I'll tell jokes in front of the, on one of the levels of the mansion. I'll tell jokes in front of the trust department. But getting back to Patton Oswalt, this is the thing about this story, because I'm not about this woke bullshit. Josh, you've seen my act. I'm not I don't give a shit. I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say. I was on a Zoom type comedy show not too long ago with a friend in L.A. and there was even industry on it. And I told which I call my Me Too joke. It was, and it's a funny joke, but the guy was, even the host was like, "Dude, you just told a Me Too joke, about women and whores," and I don't give a shit, and that's why I like doing comedy. I like to say things that I don't care if you don't fucking like it. I don't, as long as it's funny to me. I don't care if you're offended by it. I don't mean to offend, but so now Dave Chappelle, we all know the story about Dave Chappelle. He was ostracized by the trans community because his last special, he was considered to be a bit transphobic. Now, did you? We've all seen. I think we all have. I don't know if you'd mentioned it, Josh, but did you see Dave's special?
I did. Yeah, I've seen all of them, so I know all the references. He references past ones and stuff like that, but I've seen them all. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know Christy mentioned she saw it as well. So did you guys get the impression that he was dissing the trans community?
Ooh,
I feel like
dissing the
in his
trans
last
community.
Yeah, I feel like in his last special that he explained himself very well. I think he was making jokes, and I can't reference anything from it because I have like a really short term memory. I could watch it again, be like the first time. So, but I feel like he expressed himself very well that he's not, what's it called? The trans. thing.
Transphobic. Yeah.
I don't know about all this like being woke and stuff like that. Like all I know is I woke up at 7:45. I don't know these terms and stuff, what it's all that stuff, but I feel like he explained himself very well. And I feel if people would listen to the entirety of the program and the set and the special, that you would see he was explaining himself, and he's not trying to make fun. Well, he's making fun, but he's not trying to be the transphobic person that he's being accused of. And that's my opinion. So I don't want to be.
I think that was an
want to have
interesting
any
choice of words.
here.
Dissing the trans community, I think is an interesting choice of words because I never heard it like that before. But so I wouldn't say that. I don't think he took a shot at the trans community for being trans, but I do think he took a shot at the trans community for not being able to take a joke. I think that was where I think that's where the line got blurred, is that he talked about a group of people in general. He generalized the whole group of people, and then made a joke about them. And they're somebody who is constantly marginalized and constantly ostracized from communities, and what is it called? Discriminated against. So they're always like on their toes, and I think that people just took his shit really hard, really hurt their feelings, and really came at him. And he was just defending himself and making fun of them for not being able to get made fun of. And he used plenty of examples of the struggle Black people have had to deal with in our country. And I liked a lot of the comparisons he made. I liked that he said that at one point in that special, he said, you guys are different until it's convenient for you to be white, and you can call when it's time for you to call the police. And that was big. Like, he can't stop being like, you can be your one thing until it's time to be in the right. But Dave, different struggle and different thing. And I think it all came together at the end of the special when he said, he's talking about the lady that he lost, or, the woman that he lost, and talking about, their child, setting up that trust fund or whatever with their child. And he said, I knew your dad. She was a great woman, or a great lady, or something like that. And I thought that was cool. It was like him saying, I accept who you are. I'm not afraid of, I'm not like hating you. I just, like a joke. And
like you said, obviously his job is to make fun and to have he's a comedian. And, what I got out of it was that it's like, everybody on earth is made fun of, you know what I mean? And, my nephew is transgender, was my niece, and then transitioned. So I understand that plight. I understand the challenges of that. I know it's not an easy life. It can't, listen, this damn COVID gave me a bit of depression. Comedy gets me depressed. So I can only imagine if I was dealing with that kind of stuff in my life, how much challenge I'd feel. Right. I mean, and so, with it, but I also think that if, it's almost impossible. And what I got out of it was, you can't expect people to always, like, you can't expect people to be perfect. Even like racism, there are going to be racist fucking people. You know what I mean? There's just going to be racist people. I mean, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And you can't, there's going to be evil people. We'd like to get rid of evil, but you can't. There's always going to be that. How we cope with it, how we understand it, how we deal with it is what we have to do, right? As a human being. And that's the way it is. I mean, if you want to thrive, if you're a transgender and you want to be strong, and you're going to have to put that shit behind you. I mean, you're going to want, it's someone's going to look. You're always going to have those people that are fucking going to look. And, now if somebody does shit and makes fun of you and starts cursing at, I mean, that's fucking wrong, right? I mean, that's just stupid. But, but you can't expect people to, like, it's like the homosexual community. If you ask a person of religion how they feel about homosexuality, they're going to express their feelings the way they are. That person should not be condemned for their feelings. That's just the way they feel. That's just something they have in their faith, right or wrong. It is. You can't change them, just like they can't change you. Respect that in a sense. Not everybody's going to look, as comics, we know that, right? Not everybody's going to like us. Not everybody's going to love our shit. And, it's something we have to fucking learn. But here's the funny thing, you got Patton Oswalt and Chappelle. So they did a show together on New Year's Eve. They took some photos together, and then Patton Oswalt apologizes to his fans for taking the photo. And he this is the thing that bugs me. Like, just fucking tell him, hey, he's my friend. You know what I mean? I know him better than you know him. So I see past the things you're upset with, and I understand why you're upset with him. But fuck, this is my friend. I'm not going to walk away from my. And he kind of says that if you read the article in his tweet, he's
Yeah.
basically saying, look, I've known this guy forever. I'm gonna respect him, and I'm always going to hold him in a higher place. And hopefully, some of my feelings on the subject matter may rub off on him, right? I mean, that's what we want. We want differences of opinion, right? We want
You
to
should
have
have
a
that in your
difference of
friend
opinion.
circle too.
Absolutely, right? I
A
mean, too
good
many
friend
people
sees
nowadays.
something in their friend and tries
Too
to
many
change
people
it.
do
Tries to
that
help them.
nowadays, right? Like I like when
Yeah.
a friend of mine, if I have a friend of mine comes up to me and says, "Hey, dude, I watched your set. You really need to you should try to fix this or work on this." That's the shit I like. I don't want my friend to, "Oh, you did great, dude." Thanks. I want to hear that, but there's some people that can't hear that, right? I mean, there's some people that just can't deal with adversity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And you need that.
you
Like you
can
were talking
dance
earlier
on
at
the
the beginning of the
line.
show about the tag. You got to give each other tags. Tell somebody when it's not working. Tell somebody when you think. But I mean, what's he gonna say? Yeah, that joke's not working. That special that half of America loved, it's not working.
Right. Why are you
Yeah.
going to go back and
But
apologize for posting a picture? Sorry again, you got to explain things to me. I am super blonde. Who is he apologizing to for taking his photo with Dave?
Well, to his
Like,
fans that are transgender or gay community, the LGBTQ, because he
oh,
goes off and tells them how he supports them and
because
everything.
the picture was offensive.
Well, to me, that's the point. That's the problem I have. If I know somebody, if for some reason, Christy, for some reason, you feel a certain way about puppies, you hate puppies, and I take a photo with you, and all my friends who have puppies are like, "How dare you take a photo with that puppy hater?" I'm like, "Hey, man, we weren't sitting on puppies at the time of the photo. We know each other, and I know this. So just what he did by apologizing and doing that was it only perpetuated this nonsense to me of lack of understanding. You know what I mean? It's just to me it was a little I hate to say this, cover your ears, Christy, but it was a little cunty to me. It was just a little cunty to me what he did. He should say, "Hey, man, this is my friend. I like the guy. We've known each other for decades. We're friends. I know he feels that way about it. We don't share the same feelings like much of my friends, but he's my friend. I'm going to take a photo with him. Sorry that you're upset that I took a photo with him. It doesn't mean I'm out there, bashing transgenders. It's just he's my friend.
it
Well,
makes me.
it's funny.
What drives me crazy is the hypocrisy of it. Is that people are saying don't. His fans and his friends are calling. He's known as an ally to the LGBTQ community, and the fact that was hanging out with Dave Chappelle made people think that he's not an ally anymore. He's not our ally. He's not our friend. He doesn't stand up for us. He's not willing to do this and that. But then at the same time, those people will prop up and support other people that they make exceptions to this rule for, like the lady who started the protest and the walkout at Netflix shortly after the special came out, when Netflix employees were protesting it, trying to get it off the platform and saying they weren't going to go to work, and they're outside striking about it. The person in charge of it was this. I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it's a trans woman. It's a woman. They identify as a woman, is all I know. And if you go back on their Twitter feed, you can find tweets from the last couple years
Oh
over
yeah.
and over and over with racial slurs towards Asian people, saying faggot 1,000 times, making fun of gay people, and just trashing so many different people that you're like, how is that okay? But Patton
Yeah.
Oswalt, the guy who plays the cartoon character on your favorite show, you gotta cancel him now because he is friends with Dave Chappelle. That's silly to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that you referenced the word puppies and me not liking puppies, because you haven't heard my set in a long time, and that's actually what I call younger men. And trust me, I do not hate puppies. So just
That's right. I
letting
don't
you
want the
know.
puppies to stop from trying to cuddle on your lap.
Do not go out
Um,
there and start saying I hate puppies.
she hates puppies. You're absolutely right. It was that story. I remember I read, I was reading that, and how that person was, was bad mouthing Chinese, Asian people, and that's to me that is the biggest problem, because most of the people that are the ones complaining, most of these people are the ones that are like the hierarchy. They're virtue signaling, and they're all this. They're all full of shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
They're all just full of shit. I was telling Christy, I tell a joke, about, I asked my wife to go to Home Depot and get me a wet vac. She comes back with a Mexican. White people will come up to me after the show like, oh, that was so rude to Mexican people. How dare you? I go, you know who loves that joke? Mexican people. Mexican people love that fucking joke because it's fucking funny and they don't give a fuck. They love who they are. That's the problem. If you do not love who you are, and then if you have issues with yourself, you're never going to be able to deal with other people joking about you, right? I mean, that's the thing. The stronger
For
you are
sure.
about yourself, and as good as you feel about yourself, no one could. Someone calls me a fat fuck and everything. I am a fat fuck. I mean, like, oh, how dare you say that about me? God, I have a mirror. What the fuck? Just
I
because you're
hate that, by
pointing
the
it
way.
out.
I hate people go, "You're fat." Yeah, I know I'm fat. Be
Yeah,
creative. Be funny. You're making me angry with your lack of creativity.
yeah. I always said that if you're going to do a fat guy joke, it better be funnier than mine.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
come on.
just crazy.
Try.
But
It's comedy.
um,
Everybody just needs to appreciate the art of comedy and quit taking it so seriously, because you can't take a joke seriously. It's a joke. Let it be a
yeah.
joke.
Now I know that you're in a part of the world, right? I mean, comedy's been hit because of how bad things closed down in the South, in the Northwest. You guys had all kinds of challenges in the last year with, defunding police and riots in the street and all that shit. I mean, you know, um, how has it been there? How's the comedy scene?
Not as bad as TV makes it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll get into like arguments on online and stuff, and people will like, enjoy your liberal cities that are burning down and all the crime, and then I'll go, well, you're from Alabama, and that's like the fourth highest crime rate. We're like, we got low crime rates, and I don't know, it's weird lies, but the one thing that's not a lie is that everything is shut down quite often, and I think the last year's been pretty good, but it affects comedy though. It affects a lot of shows. Some people and their views don't get to come up here because theaters are going, hey, you got to have a vaccine card to get in. And then someone's like, well, I'm not going to play there because I'm not going to make my fans do that. And I get that too. It sucks. You have to do it in Seattle. But it's not the whole place though. It's like Seattle and the city and the county that's in. It's vaccines everywhere, and then the rest of the state's not.
right.
And
Yeah,
Portland is very similar to where it's just that area, and then the rest of the state's not. But you don't hear about Eugene on CNN or Fox. You just hear about
yeah,
Portland.
yeah,
But it's been kind of hard with things shutting down. There's definitely less rooms. Comedy clubs are closed forever now. Some of them, the Comedy Underground in Seattle, rest in peace, gone forever. Bunch of rooms around town are gone forever. It just kind of stinks. But for some reason, there's more comics, and
oh,
that's
yeah.
it's like
I don't know. I
saturated
don't.
with the.
I don't know about you guys, but I've had a bit more of a challenge, mainly because of a lot of these reasons. But this year has been a lot more challenging. The book, it's just, yeah, that's been harder, and it's been a little adding to the depression. I'm like, oh, I usually have a full calendar, but I got a couple days in January, I got a couple weeks in February. I mean, the more I look at my calendar, I'm like, oh, I'm actually working half the month at least. But
It's less venues and it's more talent, right? There's I don't want to I got friends in this community, so I don't want to diss them or knock them or anything, but we are dealing with a new type of talent that we hadn't had to deal with before the pandemic, and that's your TikTok stars and your YouTube stars, which we did YouTube before then, but it's even more prevalent now, where like anybody who was getting recognized and building a following or fame on an online platform last year during the pandemic is now like propped up to selling tickets and doing mediocre comedy.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is
And so
interesting
it's harder.
because
Christy,
I actually produce more shows than shows where I perform. And I do have people who have become famous through TikTok over the quarantine. And I'm like, do I want to pay that for someone that is funny on TikTok? Like, can you get up there for 45 minutes and entertain an audience? So I haven't got there yet, but it's happening. So you're right. Again, I'm in
Well, some of
Florida,
them
so not
can.
a lot of things shut down. So still running rooms. What was that, Josh?
I said, well, some of them can do the time. They were comics beforehand or
Yeah.
whatever. Right? But I think to the point of being harder to book, that's a lot of it. Is there's just way
Yeah.
more people now, and people that were really working a lot of the clubs now aren't, and so they're doing some of the other rooms. And I don't know. It's a weird. It's not a bubble, but it's a weird time.
Everybody went
It
down, like
was.
theater comics. Theater comics are now doing comedy clubs. Comedy club comics are now
Yeah.
doing one-nighters. Everybody's been pushed back and down a little bit, and you're right. And it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough for that. But you're right. Not everybody that, like, I worked with John Christ recently, very funny guy, and I had a couple of my comic friends like, oh, that guy's just a YouTube guy or something. And I called him after the first show. I go, this dude's funny as fuck, man. Don't you can't diss this guy. He's actually a real comic, and he's got the exposure. He's done phenomenal with his social media, which I wish I can get better at that shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. I got like
Some people just
170
did it.
followers on TikTok right now, so really blowing that thing up.
I think
He used to stand up too before.
I'm terrible at the social media stuff. That's not like, you're not going to find very few things on social media about my performance, my act. I don't know how to do all that. The social media stuff. Like, I barely knew how to get on this, podcast. Like, what is this thing called? What is this? Is this a Zoom conference? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
This is Wake Up Late with Dougie.
That's right.
Is it?
It's Wake Up Late with Dougie show.
Oh, am I woke now?
Yeah, you're all woke.
I'm woke now, I guess.
I mean, you're late, but you're woke.
Yes.
I was early, and I'm not early to many things. So sorry about my lighting just going out.
No problem. I'm skipping around a little bit. Speaking of comics, George Lopez was performing on New Year's Eve. I don't know if you saw that. And in the middle of a set, he kind of didn't feel well and had to walk off. Have you ever walked off stage in the middle of a set?
That's like an Antonio Brown situation.
Yeah, well, we got two people that walked off. That's two of our stories. Antonio Brown walked off the field, and George Lopez walked off. But
I've done that
George
before.
Lopez didn't quit his team.
Mike.
Yeah.
I did open mic before. I was doing a set, and these guys that just I was preparing for a competition, and these guys just wouldn't stop, like, yelling out during the punchlines. And the guy produced the show, and we're friends, and it wasn't a big deal. So, like, I don't know, 2 minutes in, I just said, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm trying to work on a set, and I don't feel like doing crowd work and hanging out. So bye, and just left.
Yeah, I heard that.
I wasn't getting paid though. If I was getting paid, I wouldn't have left.
Right.
So I don't know if that's
right.
You have a contractual agreement.
I've never walked off stage. There's a couple of times I probably should have. Like, we've all bombed a couple of times. But one time I remember I got out and I was pretty new and the lights were just shining. And I was like, wow, the lights are so bright. And that's how I started my set. And it was like, it just went downhill from there. So I probably should have walked off stage before I bombed, but I didn't. But also, I heard that he was ill and he didn't just walk off because he wasn't doing well. I think that he was not feeling well.
Yeah, George. Basically, it turns out he had something, but he had walk. I watched somebody at the old Hard Rock Improv one time shit themselves on stage. Like, you could sit there like talking,
yes.
and they went, oh, and everybody's like, what's going on? I'm like, he shit himself, and they're like, what? How do you know? I'm like, I not that I've shit myself, but I'm not gonna say I've shit myself when I was a kid, but I could recognize when somebody just shit themselves, the body mechanics. And the guy, and he didn't walk off stage and come out. He walked out the emergency exit right next to the stage, which was kind of funny. But that would have been funny if George Lopez shit himself. That would have been really funny.
Wow. Yeah, that would have definitely been something.
Yeah. I've had those situations where I had to audition. I was auditioning to headline a room, and it was actually at Gregory's Comedy Club in Cocoa Beach.
Love that place.
Yeah, Matt Allen at the time was the manager. He said, "Look, I want to headline this room." You know what I mean? So, and I went there, and of course, I ended up getting deathly ill, some sort of major flu bug or something. And I'm in the hotel room, just I got it. And then I think we've been in this situation, but when it came time for showtime, I was on. And for that 30, 40 minutes, whatever it was, I was on. And then the minute I went back to my room, I was deathly ill again. You know what I mean?
Oh,
We could
man.
do that kind of shit, you know? You mentioned Antonio Brown. Ben, I don't know if we have the video queued, but if you haven't seen the video, this guy said that's it. Middle of a game. Obviously dealing with a lot of emotion, probably demons in his head. Who knows what this guy's dealing with? The coach asked him to go back in the game. He didn't want to go back in the game, and then he did this. Ben, run that clip if you can. If you have it queued up. You know, have a go. All right. But you know, quitting. You know, it sometimes, like I was talking before the show. There's so much shit going on. Like there's sometimes that I feel like I don't know if you which one of you have not ever thought about quitting comedy. I think everybody in this business has had that thought, right?
Twice.
Yeah, I thought about quitting 5 minutes before this show.
I mean, with like all those challenges we're talking about, that you know, when you're not getting booked and you start seeing it almost, you know, because to me, as much fun as I have doing comedy and as much as that gives me, right, the high, we know that, we all know that, we're all hooked on that. Is that when the other things become more and more difficult, when all the other components of the comedy world become that much more difficult, getting booked, you know, keeping dates, the travel. I mean, could you imagine traveling now with all these cancellations? How much of a pain in the ass that was? You know,
I
must
did on
be.
Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, I purposely, for some reason this year, I said, I don't want to travel this year. I figured, I had a feeling it was going to be pretty bad. So I really didn't want to book anything during these times. But I mean, who hasn't thought of that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Twice.
I'm jealous of that. Shirt off,
Christy?
pads off, throwing shit into the stands. I'm jealous. I wish I could walk off
Drop the
stage and just
mic.
throw my shirt at someone.
Have you ever thought about it,
Um,
Christy?
yeah, the second time I was ever on stage, I said I would
well,
never do that again. First time I killed it. And then the next time I bombed and I said I'll never do it again. That was 11 years ago. It took me a year to get the confidence to get back up on stage.
wow.
And I entered a contest at Jackie Knight's Comedy Club where I will see you actually, Doug, April 15th.
That's right.
You will be, I'm letting you know where you're going to be, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You will be in St. Augustine at Jackie Knight's Comedy Club at the Pelican Landing. So
That's right.
that's when I'll see you again. So I had joined her competition and started again. But there was one other time that I thought, I guess I was about 4 or 5 years in and I hadn't written anything new. And so every time I was on stage, I was like, God, I was just like singing the same song. And I was, you know, and at that time, I'm not gonna lie, like it's been a slow process for me. I was 4 years in when I had a solid, what I thought a solid 10 minutes. That's how it's gone for me. I don't do anything super fast. So I said I was gonna have a retirement set. So I booked a show in Daytona with oh crap, I forgot his name. I'll remember in a minute. And
Scratch.
did my final set. And 6 months later, I opened up another room where I started booking comedy again. So my retirement lasted 6 months. I'll never quit again.
That's good. You can't. I mean, like I said, I've thought about it, but it's like, especially going this far, and I'm in my 15th year. So it's like, you know, people are like, you know, it's always weird because it's relative, right? Like other people are like, dude, you're doing great. You're all over the place. Da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. I don't have the one room I want to work. You know, I don't have this. And you put all that shit in front of you. Who knows what Antonio Brown was thinking? But as you know, as
He
Tom
probably
Brady
doesn't even
says,
know, to be honest with you.
yeah, he probably does. He's probably just doing a bunch of cocaine. Cocaine's usually what causes you to be depressed and make such decisions.
It's got CTE too, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
No doubt.
technically, isn't the season over?
Like, one more
for
week.
him,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot about the sport, but technically, like, he's getting a break anyway, right? Like, the season is over.
Well, there's one more week, and then someone shared this stat earlier. I want to try to see if I can find it right now. He was so close to so many bonuses. Like I don't know, it was like a few passes away. I got it right here. Let's see. He was 8 more catches. If he had made 8 more catches this season, he had one more week next week still to play. He would have got $333,333. He needed 55 more receiving yards, which to him is like a quarter or a
Couple
half of a
catches,
game. And that would have been another $333,333. And then the same amount of money if he had just got one more receiving touchdown. So that's over $1 million that assuming he would have got himself within the rest of that game and next week's game over all that. So,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, end of the season, but that's someone said it perfectly. That's a costly outbreak or outburst, like a childish outburst for $1 million. That's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if he was thinking
He's
about all
gotta be-
that.
He's got to be in some sort of contract as well, though, right? Like, I mean, I don't know when the next game is. Trust me, you don't want to be talking sports with me, but like they could be like, oh, you know what? I changed my mind and go ahead and
That
play.
should be the name of your
right?
sports podcast. You don't want to be talking
What's
sports
that?
with me.
Don't be talking sports with me.
If we talking sports,
That's the name of your podcast.
Seriously, I would make the worst like sportscaster interview or whatever they're called. Like that would be ridiculous. Although I'd be really fun in the locker room after the games. I can say that for sure. But I probably would ask the worst questions.
No, I'm great in locker rooms.
Yeah.
I played a locker room last weekend, actually.
Oh, really?
No.
Wow.
Oh,
How do you get that gig? I'd love to go in there and talk about all my puppies.
Trying to tell
you
Dick
talk to an old man at the sauna at LA Fitness for an hour, but it's a fun gig. It's
yeah. How do you deal with all that hair in your body? Yeah. Well, there you go. All right, let's skip right to the news is a joke, everybody. This is where we have news headlines, and it's our job as comics to make them funny. Some of the times we can just tell the headline, and you guys can have a joke, and that's it, and we can move on to the next one. And it just works that simple. Our first story: sausage vending machines are the thing in Germany. And if there was anything that was going to be happening in Germany, it would be sausage vending machines. I mean, there's a lot of sexual jokes here. Like, if you want some sausage, you go to, Josh, I have to ask you first, though, would you eat a sausage from a vending machine?
I'm surprised you don't think I've had a Slim Jim at a hotel before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but Slim Jims
well, I want to say no, but I've bought a Slim Jim at a vending machine before, so I don't think I can say no to that question.
Wow.
A meat box, a meat locker. I don't think I've done that.
Well, now that you put it that way, I'm going to order two. Yeah, sausage vending machines are the thing in Germany. Food cravings don't operate to a set schedule. Yeah, hey, let's go to that machine over there and get a kielbasa. I mean, I'm not a big sausage guy in the first place. Number one, I prefer bacon in the morning than sausage. But you would not.
It could be a 2 a.m. morning though, and you need a wiener, so
Oh, I've needed a wiener at 2 a.m. before.
Somebody had to say it. I would definitely, without a doubt. But you could be a lady of the night, and maybe it is 2 a.m. and you need a little wiener, but this will be the first time that you're gonna pay for it. So
this part of the show is just worth you saying I need a wiener, or I could use a wiener.
You know how vending machines you have to pick your selection by rows and columns, like A1, A2, like that. They would all be D. They would all be D1 through 30 in the machine.
I don't know. There could be a B4. I would get the B4. The wiener B4.
Now you know why she hasn't got a new husband. She's very choosy.
She would have got her wiener out of the vending machine. Hot dogs was her favorite. Betty White would have done it.
Betty White would definitely be getting sausages out of a vending machine. Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, listen, in Japan, they have used panties in vending machines.
What?
So, yeah,
Ew.
that's
What?
true. They have used panties they sell in vending machines in Japan. Yeah, go figure.
Wow.
Our next story: a Chicago woman quarantined in an airplane bathroom for 3 hours after testing positive for COVID-19 mid-flight. Well, if she was me, she would have went out and got out of the fucking thing and not gave a shit, I guess, and just got everybody sick. But she took the test she got the test results on the plane, which to me is, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't like
saw
being
that.
I don't like being on a plane. I don't like being standing up on a plane. I always feel like if I'm standing up on a plane, that's when we're going to hit severe turbulence, and my fat ass is going to be bouncing around the whole of the plane, especially in the bathroom. But yeah,
I think she already knew she had COVID, and she just got diarrhea and got embarrassed and just wanted to stay in there. And so I
yeah,
think she blew that bathroom up and said, "I can't walk out there and face these people
yeah,
now."
Well, she became TikTok famous over it, but apparently she had taken COVID tests before that showed up negative,
right.
and then got a little sore throat and thought that she would test again, and then her
Mm.
TikTok went viral, which I did watch that, and I have to say she flipped a bird while putting her I know she was just trying to put her glasses up, but she literally flipped a bird on her TikTok. So, but yeah, that would be weird. I was a flight attendant in the 80s. No, God, I'm not that old. It was the 90s. Damn. Listen, I tell you what, if that had something like that had happened back then, I don't know. Could the flight attendant end up sending her food and stuff like that? There's a whole big story about how all that went down. I don't know if I would do that kind of follow up, but anyway,
Yeah,
that
she
had
was
to suck
well.
for
At
everybody
least
on the plane, also,
at least she wasn't breastfeeding a cat, which was the
right?
story we did last week.
I saw that one too.
Now, some people are saying that was fake. That was a staged situation. More and
It
more,
kind of, yeah, it
right? The
kind of
cat
seemed
just
like it.
looked
That was funny.
the cat just looked a little off, and so did the woman. But you know, well, good. Hopefully, she didn't get anybody sick. Mom finds crystal meth worth $120,000 in a cereal box while she was preparing breakfast for her kids.
Wow.
Why is little Jimmy dancing on the ceiling?
Why is she buying that weird off-brand Nestle fucking cereal? I've never even seen that shit. What was that? What was it called?
Golden Morn.
Morning Golden Morn. What
Yeah,
How
kind
do
of shit
you
is that, dude?
how do you put a price on a bulk or whatever of crystal meth? It's like $120,609. Like the $9. Like,
I know.
where did can I
Well, they
I
know
didn't know
because
you could buy $9 worth of crystal meth. Like, I just want the $9 worth. How did they
when
come
the
up with that? Or
DEA
is my
seizes it
math
from you,
wrong?
they sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
The DEA is selling it, so they're like, "Oh, this is 120,000. We made 120,000 off the seizure."
yeah, the
Yeah,
mother
that'd be
of
crazy.
4.
Listen, I'm a mom, so I would be completely horrified. Like, I'm fortunate. I'm glad that her children were young and not old enough to make their own cereal, because as soon as they're old enough to not spill the milk, they're making their own breakfast on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. So fortunately she wasn't there yet and the kids were young enough. So because I'm glad that it didn't turn out any worse than what it was. But also, was the box closed? Like, did she go out of town or leave for the day? And then somebody was like, they needed to store it. So they thought they'd break in and put it in her
Yeah.
cereal box. How did it get there? I don't know. Did
Yeah,
they
that's a great
find out
question.
where it came from?
She then put her sleuthing hat and went online to research what those crystals could be. She found out that it was meth. This is the first time. Purple like a cheetah. In April, a
That's in her
Montana boy
That's in
found
her search history now.
somebody
Yeah,
found a
and
bullet in
$9.
a Cheetos. Yeah. Well, thank God they didn't live in a trailer park. Otherwise, there would have been no meth left. Kids would have had the best breakfast of the century. Our next story, unusual phenomenon causes fish to rain from sky in Texas town. Boy, you thought that, you can imagine thinking you're depressed and, oh, the end of the world is coming. And then you see fish flying out of the air. I guess this happens. It's a weird situation where there's like water spouts or something that pulls stuff up and then gets it into the atmosphere and then it comes down. But raining fish. Well, I
I
guess
think I think it's a reminder of men online to change their profile picture.
okay.
You know, everybody
From
with the fish, you know, they're all well, come on, you got to know. I know you're not online dating, but all the guys online dating are standing there with their fish. That's the joke. Okay.
So
We'll
you're
work
saying,
on
Christy,
I'll
that
work on
single men
Yeah.
are all fishermen?
Yeah, they all show the biggest fish on their. You've had to have heard this before. Like that's a whole thing about the guys on online dating. I'll send you some of my photos after this, so you'll
Oh,
see
okay.
what you can reference with.
So, Josh, if you do decide to ever leave your wife or your wife leaves you, you better become a fisherman.
I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. That's the only way to
Yeah.
do it. You got to fish.
I'm never going to
You
get
gotta-
laid if my wife leaves me because I've never been a fisherman. I'll just go down to the local, the the local bakery or wherever the fuck they sell fish, and
Yeah.
just go buy one.
You don't really have to catch it.
I would do it wrong. I'd be posing with a crab. Like, look at I got crabs here.
I got crabs.
Here's my number.
There's something about that guy I don't like. Yeah, not much of a story there. Our next story, Wisconsin Badgers accidentally shatter a trophy while celebrating Duke's Mayo Bowl. The running back or the guy who's supposed to be able to have good hand is like, say they're celebrating and he drops a football that's made out of crystal onto the floor. And then they ended up, if you look at the photo, they end up taping a bottle of mayo, Duke's mayonnaise, on the top of the trophy to make it all better.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Who gives a shit, these bowls? You know what I mean?
That reminds me of when Rob Gronkowski, who was he? I don't remember who he was. What?
Well, him
they
and
won
Tom
with the
Brady after they
Patriots.
won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were playing around at the World Series, with the Red Sox, and with the trophy, and he like swung it at a ball that Tom Brady threw at him and dented the Lombardi Trophy. And now he's not allowed to touch Super Bowl trophies. Like when they got the Super Bowl in Tampa, Tom was like, "You can't touch the trophy, dude. You broke the last one in New England."
Yeah, because Tom got in trouble because remember they're on a boat and they were throwing it back and forth to each other
That
on the
was
boat,
cool.
and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Yeah, you're like, fuck. I mean, imagine if they dropped that thing in the water. Go get it.
I honestly don't see the point or the reasoning. Like, why on earth would you give someone who won a trophy for playing football a glass or football trophy that you can break? You know good and well they were tossing that around. He didn't drop it. That was the first one he didn't catch all night. They were playing around in the locker room. There's
the minute
no
they
way
dropped it, somebody screamed fumble. And they picked all the gross.
Make it plastic.
That's right. Next story: man hired babysitters to treat him like a baby and change his diaper in Louisiana. Cops say. Boy, you know, it's amazing to me. No wonder you're not married, Christy, when you got men like this that want to be treated like children. And I mean, what would you do if a grown man asked you to change his diaper and he wasn't like 80 years old?
Yeah, I'm disgusted with that topic. I have 3 teenagers, and I don't know if you heard a baby crying in the background, but my daughter's actually babysitting right now in the other room. So I'm just disturbed and disgusted with it. I can't even come up with anything funny about that, except I hope the guy is where he's supposed to be, and he's somebody's little baby in a cell somewhere, you know.
And it says here that Patton Oswalt took a photo with him on Instagram, by the way. He took a photo with him in his diaper. So there you go.
You better publicly apologize for that.
Guys are weird. I mean, let's face it. But people like this, I don't know. Listen, if there is a thinning of the herd, a lot of people think COVID's just to make a depopulation type of thing. Well, can we pick the people? It should be easy to
Yeah.
get rid of some people. Like when people show up like this, okay, just have them go to
Well, they
the
tried that
human.
in the 30s and 40s, and it didn't work out.
Eee. All right, our next story: jail for drug dealer who decorated Christmas tree with cash and cocaine. Again, another stupid asshole. This guy decided he was going to post some photos on social media of cocaine and money on his tree, and somebody recognized it, and they found him, and they busted him.
Why can't he just say it's fake?
I mean, how does a cop know that that's cocaine and not, salt or baking powder?
Yeah.
How high do you have to be to put all that cocaine on your, Christmas tree and post a picture of it? If you're a drug, whatever you call them.
Drug dealer.
What do you
And
call 'em?
I'm definitely guessing he had a white Christmas. That's all I can say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And this was,
But he
wasn't
wasn't
the
dreaming
United,
for sure.
no, it wasn't United Kingdom, by the way.
He was awake.
And, yes. He's like, I'm going to put my drugs on my tree and all the money, and nobody's got to notice. It's just going to be me. Yeah, I think that's good when I see
That's pretty
stupid when stupid people get caught or fucked up. That's good, right? That's good. We don't need these people around. And our last story of the day. This is funny. What is it? Where's the story? Under thin skin, no, that's not the story. Hold on.
You can make a story up if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make one up because I think the fucking story it changed. What happened? Oh yes, it was the Noah's Ark one. All right. I watched that TV show that's on Netflix. Don't Look Up. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yes.
With Leonard DiCaprio and the girl from Hunger Games. What'd you think of it, by the way, Josh?
I didn't finish it last night. My wife and I were watching it last night, and we didn't finish it. I got I don't know, maybe an hour, a little bit more into it. It was it's a parody of COVID, right? Like Leonardo DiCaprio is supposed to be Fauci, and Meryl Streep is supposed to be female Trump, and Jonah Hill is supposed to be Donald Jr. and / Yvonne. It's a complete. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like a complete farce on Trump and Corona.
Yeah, it was a satirical thing, and I watched some people make posts about it, and they were saying it was definitely attacking the Republicans, but the guy who was supposed to be like the genius, like the I don't know, like the Steve Jobs or whatever, the guy who's making all the like he was sniffing hair, so that he was a bit of a perp. I don't know if you see the scene where he's like, and the little girl, they're doing the phone, and the little girl goes, "Can I say something, so and so?" And he goes, "No," and then she goes up to him after, like, "I love you." So that was an insinuation that he's a pedophile.
Yes.
He was sniffing the hair, so he had a little bit of Biden in him. I mean, everybody had the red hats, Don't Look Up, which was more like MAGA hats and stuff like that. So I can understand when my Republican conservative friends were taking it, you probably fell asleep because it was pretty boring. My wife thought the movie was very boring, and obviously, I don't want to spoil the end, but it's one of those movies I got done watching, going, "Why the fuck did I watch this?" It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the scary thing. There's plans. The idea of the story was there's plans to create a Noah's Ark on the moon, to basically take thousands and thousands of sperm, thousands and thousands of eggs, thousands and thousands of seeds. It would take like 100 space trips to get it all up there and bury it under the surface of the moon, in case something like that happened, where an asteroid hit us. Or I think on January 18th, we got a pretty big size asteroid that's going to pass between us and the moon, another near miss. But the question then I guess would ask you guys is, would you, if something like that happened, would you want to live in a post-apocalyptic Earth?
I'd want to live.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think I'd want to live.
No cable, no cell phones, no toilet paper, no cable, no
Yeah,
internet.
but
No,
all that
twice.
sperm buried up there, I don't know.
I don't know. I would.
I
I would just want to. I would just want to live.
Yeah, one way
I
or the
I
other.
I wouldn't, but I would for my children,
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
you definitely have something to
Seriously.
live for.
Yeah.
But that's the idea to perpetuate the U.S. The U.S. to perpetuate humanity by hiding stuff on the moon. So if all I know is if they want that, then I'll definitely store some of my sperm and put it
Wonder
in
if
the next package heading to the
I
moon.
wonder if people are going to have to pay to keep their sperm up there. Like, how are
For
they going
sure.
to do that? Who gets their sperm on the moon? Like, who gets to decide that?
Yeah, and whose
I
egg you're
don't
going to
know.
mix it with? You know what I mean? They're gonna look at sperm and they're gonna know who these people are. And then what would happen if somebody didn't pay the rent on the storage on the moon? Would you have some
Yeah.
people coming, like a, going in and auctioning those bins, and then some guys,
Yeah,
go
like
up there and
storage
go, oh, I
wars. Is
got
there storage
all I,
wars?
storage wars. All I got was
Oh my
all I got
gosh.
was vials and vials of sperm. I pay $1,000 for this locker, and there's
Yes.
yes, I got the one with the seeds. They're all weed. Um, well, there you go.
They
All right, well,
start
we did it,
throwing it
everybody.
out. Now it's not raining fish anymore. It's raining
Yeah,
semen.
Men.
boy, this
It's
boy, this
raining
rain.
men.
It's raining, man. This rainwater is very thick.
It
Um, we're having a
tastes
Peter North shower
similar to
here on Earth. One big money shot. That's it. Yeah, that's what happens. An asteroid doesn't hit Earth; it hits the fucking moon, and all this fucking sperm flies over the Earth.
Is
That's our
that
next calamity.
bird shit? Nope.
It smells like bleach. Um, Anyway, fellas, gals, and fellas, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. Want to thank Christy B for joining us, and of course, Josh
Thank
Firestein for
you.
joining us. Let's start, ladies first. Christy, what's coming up? You want to plug?
What's coming up? I actually have shows here in Florida, St. Augustine, Flagler Beach, Daytona. Opening room, or I've started opening room in Maryville, Tennessee, my hometown, and those are the shows that I'm producing and promoting and booking comics for. And then I'm actually going to be in Fort Lauderdale area in February. I don't even know. Like, I pulled out my calendar, but then I didn't look at it. So all the social media things, I can tell you, like, I'm terrible at it. But here's my little joke that I tell everybody of all ages. Like, if you're in your late teens or early 20s, I'm on Snapchat. It's Christy B Comedy on Snapchat. If you're in your 30s, I'm on Instagram, Christy B Comedy on Instagram. If you're my age in your 40s and 50s, of course, it's Facebook. You're going to find me on Facebook. If you're in your 60s, my email address is christybcomedy@yahoo. And then if you're above the age of 75, I can send you a self-addressed stamped envelope. You can write me a letter. So that is how you can get in touch with me and follow me and find out where I'm going to be. And I'll see you
Covering
in
all.
March at Jackie Knight's, Doug.
Yeah, in April, actually, April 15th, tax day.
Is it
And
April?
I'll be
It
doing
is April.
Daytona Live. I'll be doing that the night before or after, or something like that. And
Yeah, it's
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you about that February date. I might have a spot. Like, I don't have all my spots, paid spots are full, but if you're in town, I might be able to get you on a stage show.
Yes, I am trying to get booked for one of those dates while I'm in the area. If not, you should, still come out to the show if you're not booked somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh?
Social medias is at Josh_Firestein on all social medias except Twitter. I don't have it. It's not a real place. Instagram's the best. Live shows got this Saturday. If you're in the Northwest this Saturday, going to be headlining a show at the historic Everett Theater with Jose Bolaños from Seattle's 92.5 radio station. And then at the end of the month, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Summit City Comedy Club, headlining Thursday, the 27th, and featuring for Jay Moore from Saturday Night Live
Awesome.
on Friday, Saturday, the 28th and 29th of January. And then anybody in NorCal, I'll be at the Laughs Unlimited Comedy Club in Sacramento, February 4th and 5th, opening for Key Lewis. He's really funny. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I like Key. Yeah. Key's been on the show.
JoshFirestein.com for dates and silly shit.
Cool. New room in Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? The Summit Comedy Club. And it's all run by the same folks, right? Out of the Spokane, Washington, that same group. I think I reached out to you about that. I sent out some Vail stuff to those folks. And so especially I'm going to be up there in July. I'm doing Medford. I'm headlining Chadwick's and Joker's over those 2 weekends in July.
I'll be at Joker's in February. When are you doing Joker's?
Like July 22nd, something like that. The weekend after the 15th.
You sent that. Yeah. We'll
so I'm trying to fill in some. I'm getting the wife to fly out there with me too, so we're going to do some sightseeing and things for all that stuff. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for joining us today, and have fun out there, guys. Don't quit comedy. Stay with it. You two are very funny. And that's all we have today, everybody. And I'm going to be in Florida again on January 23rd on Sunday at Island Grill, along with my good friend Jimmy Schubert. Also going to be at Mulligan's on I think it's the 20th of Wednesday, something like that, or the 19th. I think it's the 19th. In Port St. Lucie, I'll be at Mulligan's headlining the room. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates. Aside from that, everybody, we may take a week off next week. I got some things we're going on, but stay tuned for more. Don't forget to follow us on our fan page here on Facebook at Wake Up Late with Dougie Show, and on Instagram at the Wake Up Late with Dougie Show. Wake Up Late with Dougie on Instagram, and follow me at Funny Fiduciary on TikTok and on Twitter, and Dougie Dangerous on Instagram. That's all we have time for, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless, and we'll see you here next at the same spot. Take care.